Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. Canada is better than the United States. Contraception and diabetes drugs are now going to be covered by our government healthcare in the near future.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. There's some caveats to that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but yeah, this was sent to me by E.T. Benson. So Canada's Parliament passed a bill that will cover the full cost of contraception and diabetes drugs for Canadians, asterisk. So the federal government still has to negotiate individual funding commitments with Canada's provinces and territories, which, when I was doing my initial read-through of the article, my first thought when I saw that was like, oh, fucking Alberta's going to hold this up. Because Alberta is our Bible Belt.
Mm-hmm.
Alberta is our Texas. Alberta is so much our Texas that Ted Cruz came from Alberta originally.
Makes sense. Why do all of our worst conservatives come from Canada?
Because we ship them out. We don't tolerate them here. We send them to you.
Oh, is that your number one export?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Pierre Poilievre is probably worse. He's the leader of the opposition party right now, the Conservatives. Yeah, Canadians currently pay for prescription drugs through a mix of private, public, and out-of-pocket plans. So basically, most insurance plans through employers cover 80% of prescription costs. People like me who are self-employed don't get shit for coverage. So like my ADHD meds cost me like about $100 a month ish. Like, it's not prohibitive, but it's not nothing. However, my kids get free drugs. So I
love when kids get free drugs.
I have two children that are diagnosed with ADHD. They both have medication for it, and I don't have to pay for that. So yeah, it's a mix, and it's a mix that for most people works well enough. Is like, because most people do get the 80% coverage. So like my $100 ADHD meds would be $20 a month, which, like, that's something that most people who are working can afford.
Yeah.
That said, I'd still like it all to be covered. But this program will cover 100% of the cost of diabetes and contraception medication for those who do not have drug plan coverage, and out-of-pocket costs for those who do. So like, you got the 80% covered, the other 20% is now going to be covered as well. Federal government estimates that 9 million Canadian women of reproductive age will have access to common types of contraceptions under this plan. And birth control and IUDs cost between $100 and $300 a year for Canadians. So like, again, not nothing, but I imagine it's a little bit more expensive in the States.
At least we finally are making sure that we have insulin cost capped here.
Yeah.
Because places were starting to get really fucky with that.
30 to 50 annoyingly feral peccaries says, trick or treat, free drugs! Yeah, that's the Conservatives' worst nightmare. We're giving out free drugs for Halloween. Here's some candy corn. Here's some Ritalin.
We're putting it in your bag.
And here's your baggie of fentanyl.
Jesus.
Yeah. So diabetes. So this is the asterisk. Diabetes drugs covered include insulin for people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes, which can cost between $900 and $1,700 a year, and metformin, which helps lower blood sugar levels for people with type 2 diabetes. So the headline is kind of overblowing this a little, like, to cover cost of contraception and diabetes drugs. Like, yeah, those are two diabetes drugs, but there are a lot of diabetes drugs that are not those. And my partner is on several of them. Metformin is one that she's on, so this is going to help us, but and it's not cheap. So yeah, it's better than nothing, but it's not as good as it could be. So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called the bill's passage real progress and urged provinces to quickly move forward with signing agreements, which, again, I was like, oh, Alberta's going to fuck it up for everybody. Fucking Alberta. The federal health minister has said he hopes that some provinces will have a plan in place by the end of this year, with all on board by next spring. Very optimistic time frame. I like it. But I was still, when reading this, in the back of my head was, fucking Alberta. They're going to fuck it up for everybody. And then I get down here. But two provinces, Alberta and Quebec, could have probably guessed about Quebec, but they're a little bit more of a, what's the word? A wild card. They're a little bit more of a wild card with this sort of thing than Alberta is. But they have indicated they may opt out of the program, accusing Ottawa of interfering in provincial matters. Okay, if they just opt out entirely, sucks for people who live in Alberta and Quebec, but at least they're not holding it up for the whole country. So, yay? Opposition Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. I don't know. I don't actually speak French, despite being Canadian.
You don't have the right amount of phlegm.
Apparently his party is ahead in the national polls by a wide margin, which fucking sucks, because the Conservatives are garbage. Don't vote for Conservatives, please. Canadians. They're the worst. I mean, no. The Republicans in the States are the worst, but they're the worst that Canada has, aside from whatever the fuck that party is that uses purple. But they don't win anything, so...
We have a purple party?
There's a purple party.
Huh.
What is it? Canadian party that uses purple. People's Party of Canada. The Purple People's Party of Canada. Was a one-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people leader.
I thought the same thing. God damn it.
Do you know the guy who sang that originally is also likely the voice of the Wilhelm scream?
Huh.
There are like 5 people that the Wilhelm scream could be, and he's one of the more likely of the 5.
Interesting. You know, speaking of H-Bomber guy, I remember my autoplay decided to play the Oops sound video again. So I just had that entire diatribe on the Wilhelm scream from the beginning of the video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. They chose a costly model that will deteriorate rather than improve access to prescription drugs, violate provincial jurisdiction, and further burden Canadian taxpayers, says the business group.
Yeah, but they're the
Canadian Chamber of Commerce group. It's like, yeah, no, if business is against it, then I'm probably all for it, and that's probably good.
Like, businesses aren't people. I don't have to care about their rights.
So this is where I want to kind of brag about how the Canadian system is just better than the American system, because we don't have a 2-party system. We have a multiple party system. And right now we have what's called a minority government, which means no party got enough votes that they could just take over the government. So there has to be a coalition between parties in order to allow for a government to happen. So one party has to agree, like, okay, we will vote with you on all the shit so that you can actually do your governing. And right now, the Liberals are the ones that are in charge. So Justin Trudeau is the leader of the Liberals. Jagmeet Singh is leader of the NDP party, which is kind of like... So the Liberals would be like the Democrats in the States, and the NDP would be... Do you guys have an independent that's like left-wing of the Democrats?
We have a Green Party.
I don't know that Green would quite fit.
Yeah, they are more left than the Democrats on those things.
So the NDP are more left-leaning than the Liberals. And so they formed a coalition government. And so now this small party can actually exert pressure on the government to say, hey, these are our goals for the Canadian people. If you don't take meaningful steps toward those goals, we will withdraw our support, and then there will be a new election called, and you could potentially lose because apparently the Conservatives are winning in the polls. But so yeah, the left-wing party, that's the NDP, promised to prop up the Liberals on the condition that the government launch the drug program with a handful of other priorities. So this is the NDP's baby. Now Trudeau was taking a sweet-ass time with that, so NDP actually pulled out of the deal in early September. They didn't actually call an election. Like they just have to initiate a vote of no confidence, and then that'll call an election. So they are still voting along with them at the moment, but they have withdrawn the agreement that they will just like pass everything. So now like every vote is this going to be the one that they disagree with, and it calls an election? And so as a result of that, we actually get shit done, progressively speaking.
That's mildly better than what we do.
That is way better than a 2-party system. It's still effectively a two-party system because the only ones that are ever going to have the prime minister anytime soon are the conservatives and the liberals. But like, there has to be smaller parties that are willing, like the big parties have to be willing to play ball with the smaller parties in order to actually get anything done.
As opposed to the system we have here where everything just gets stonewalled by one party whenever anything happens, unless you've got majorities.
So yeah, that's the main thing. I just wanted to flex our Canadian superiority today.
Well, I'm very glad that you're better than me.